Hello, everyone. Welcome to this evening's Parents and Family Forum. My name is Eric Lassang. I'm from Alumni and Parent Engagement, and we're really glad that you're here this evening to join us. Before we begin, let me share a few logistical items. This session will operate much like a webinar, and the microphone on your computer will not be active during this meeting. We also have Abby Kale and Lee Sheldon from Alumni and Parent Engagement managing production this evening. And we'll monitor the Q&A tab at the bottom of your Zoom screen throughout our presentation. So please feel free to submit your questions as you have them. You can also use the Q&A function if you're having technical difficulties, and Abby or Leah will do their best to help. This evening, we'll look back on this academic year so far, and we'll share some programming that we have in the works for the rest of this semester, highlight our plans for commencement, and provide some suggestions to help support students who may be heading into the summer with a little less of a plan than they had hoped at this point. So let's begin. I'm excited to introduce our Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Ruth Feingold. Dr. Feingold has served as Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences since 2016. Ruth is also a professor of English with specializations in post-colonial studies and women's and gender studies. A strong proponent of the experiential and holistic education, Ruth believes that life is interdisciplinary. Working from that perspective, she seeks to find ways for students to connect what they learn at Willamette, both in and outside of the classroom, with the world beyond our doorstep. Ruth, thank you so much for moderating the panel this evening, and I'll hand it off to you now.
My pleasure. Thanks, everyone. I'm glad we were able to get over the technical glitches that kept this a little bit small initially. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a look forward to next year, academically at least. My colleagues can talk more about the end of this year and the summer. Most of your, SSRD. I hadn't realized that SSRD was on there on the slide, so I can talk about SSRD, which we just finished today. And this is why I'm a little bit scattered. So today, classes in the College of Arts and Sciences were canceled, and students have been doing presentations all day, many of them poster presentations, many of them oral presentations. I managed to go to presentations from students in anthropology, English, chemistry, studio art. I went and saw an opening exhibit, English, Japanese studies, women and gender studies, and I think 2 other departments in there. Every single presentation was astonishingly good. The last one of the day was an organic chemistry presentation. And as I went and said to the student afterwards, I understood what you were saying. And he said, oh, good, because I knew that the audience was going to be a general audience. And I had been admittedly a little bit dreading. I wanted to go because it was one of our presidential scholars and I wanted to see his work. And I thought, oh, dear God, I'm not going to understand a word of it. It'll go directly over my head. And I really did. So that was fantastic. You did great work. So we've had a wonderful SSRD. If you missed it this year, I encourage you to go next year. You can go in person. We also try to make live Zoom links for most of the events available so that you can see that. I did want to share with you a little bit about registration and staffing updates. You may have heard from some of your students, I couldn't get into any of the classes that I want. That's, probably a little bit of an exaggeration. We work very hard to get students into classes that will support them towards graduation and the things that they want. And it's always a little bit of a guessing game. As I will say, one year we have 35 students who want to take first year Latin, and the next year we only have 12 students. And I have no idea why that is from year to year. So students who are already here, that is rising sophomores, juniors, and seniors, have done a first pass at registration this spring. Our first year class will have committed to us by about 3 weeks from now. And at that point in time, we will begin adding more classes. We are releasing seats that we held back for those first year students, so they have things to register for. And we're going to be bringing in more classes and more faculty as we learn exactly what we need. So keep an eye out over the summer. There will be open registration and more new classes will become available. I also encourage you to encourage your students to look more deeply through the course schedule than they might have done already. A lot of people don't know where to look other than just their few special things that they like to look for. Classes in their major or classes where they once had departments where they once had a class that they really liked. And there's a lot of interesting stuff out there. We've got new classes on the books for next year, one in current topics in biology, so that students, both majors and non-majors, can learn about how recombinant DNA is used to solve cold cases, how COVID vaccines work, how fentanyl works. There is a class on intergenerational justice offered in PPLE, as well as a new class on the advocacy internship. The theater department is offering classes in the history of musical theater, in creativity and consent, and in stage combat, which is always really fun. We have a nationally recognized stage combat instructor and choreographer here, so take the opportunity to learn how to fight on stage. We have English classes in the mystery novel and vampires. We have a visiting professor in the environmental science department who's offering classes in environmental communication, climate change, film and literature, and environmental philosophy. So all pretty cool things. I do also want to tell you about a couple of our special professors who are going to be here next year. We have always every year a TEPLA scholar who's a distinguished vision scholar who introduces new things to the curriculum we wouldn't otherwise have. Next year's scholar is a filmmaker named Joy Davenport. In the fall, she's going to be teaching a class on the ethics of documentary film and also a single camera production class. So we don't very often have classes in how to make films, and how we have a filmmaker who is teaching students how to make films. And in the spring, she'll be teaching a class on the editing process. So production in the fall, post-production in the spring. Brian Twenter, who has been here this year as a class of 59 visiting scholar, is going to be staying next year. He teaches Indigenous film, cinema, and literature. And he's going to be teaching classes on the Indigenous literature of the Pacific Northwest, on Indigenous film and media, and on Native American lit and culture. And then finally, we have a new tenure track professor joining us in the fall, Jennifer Martinez Medina. She's joining the PPLE department. She's just finishing up her doctorate at Portland State University in Public Affairs and Policy. Her work is really interdisciplinary. It focuses on the ways that globalization impacts expressions of community care, kinship, and political rights across borders. She does a lot of work with migrant farm workers, and her dissertation focused on farm workers' remittances during the COVID-19 pandemic. So she's the person who's going to be teaching the advocacy internship class and is really going to be bringing students into her research in this local area. So we're tremendously excited to have her. And that is my staffing update this summer. We're all going to be busy on campus. Students are going to be working on their science collaborative research projects. We are going to be bringing in our new class of students and registering them, and various other things, which some of my other colleagues can talk about, students working on campus and off. So if we can move to the next slide, I will bump you over to somebody else. So Colleen Kawahara from the President's Office is going to talk to you about something that you're probably very excited about if you have a senior. Colleen, take it away.
Thank you, Dean Feingold. Hello, good evening, everyone. Again, Colleen Kawahara, Chief of Staff in the President's Office, Vice President of Communications, but most importantly, Willamette's Commencement Coordinator. I've been coordinating Willamette's commencement for 11 years now. And it is a lot of work, but it's also one of the happiest times on our campus. And I want to congratulate all the families who have students who are going to be graduating in May. I wanted to provide an overview of what you can expect. A lot of my details are specifically to the Salem campus commencement, but I'll provide some information about the PNCA commencement as well. Commencement takes place on Sunday, May 21st. And again, we have 4 commencements that day. So we have 3 taking place on the Salem campus, and the PNCA commencement takes place in Portland at the Tiffany Center. The first commencement on the Salem campus is the Atkinson Graduate School of Management commencement at 9. The College of Law commencement is at 10:30. And then the the undergraduate commencement is at 1:30. Those take place on the quad under a tent in case the weather does not cooperate, which it will, of course. And again, the PNCA commencement at the Tiffany Center at 5:30 in downtown Portland, and which will be followed by a reception at the PNCA campus. And there will also be, I think, senior art displays and galleries near the campus as well. All ceremonies are going to be live streamed, and the link is available on each commencement page for each of the schools. And I believe Abby put a link to the commencement page in the chat. And so that's the commencement pages have a lot of detailed information that I may not go over tonight. And so if I don't cover something tonight, you can likely find the answer on the commencement page. For the Salem campus commencements, there will be a commencement brunch offered in Gowdy Commons that takes place from 9 to 1 p.m. And the brunch offers food for all dietary needs. You can pre-purchase tickets up until May 12th, again, on the commencement website. After May 12th, you can purchase tickets at the door for a slightly higher fee. Also, on the Salem campus, on commencement day, from 10:30 to 12:30, the academic departments will host open houses. So families can visit with the faculty member, your students' faculty members, to thank them for the impact that they may have had on your students. All the open houses, again, are listed on the website, so you can see the locations of where the open houses are going to be hosted. The music department open house actually takes place on the Saturday before commencement, so on May 20th, and that will take place immediately following the senior recital in Rogers Music Center. In terms of parking, for Salem, you can park at any lot without a permit. We will have golf carts roaming from the parking areas to the main part of campus. If anyone needs help getting to campus, if they have mobility issues, we'll have volunteers in the lots. If there isn't a cart immediately available, and they can radio for one. And the carts will be able to help you get around campus too, again, if you have mobility issues. For PNCA, the parking for the Tiffany Center, there is a lot dedicated to the Tiffany Center. That information is on the PNCA commencement website. You can also park around on the street on commencement day. I believe parking is free since it's Sunday. If there are any ASL interpretation needs, we would need to know that ahead of time so that we can make sure logistically we can seat you in front of the interpreter. So if there are those needs, it would be great if you could contact us at commencement-info@willamette.edu, and then we can connect with you offline regarding the logistics of making sure you're seated by the ASL interpreter. All commencements are not ticketed. And so people have asked if they are limited in terms of the number of people they can bring. And no, you can bring as many people as you want. So for the Salem campus commencements, we also get asked if people can reserve seats. The answer is kind of. And what that means is if people want to reserve seats, they have to wait until the previous ceremony is completed. And once the previous ceremony is done, you can come into the tent and you can hold seats for your party, but you need to stay with those seats. So in other words, you can't lay out your jackets and your blankets and then go to brunch and then expect that your seats are going to be there when you come back, because likely they are not. So again, you can hold the seats, but you need to stay with them if you expect to actually have them held for the ceremony. For the, again, Salem campus, we do have the Willamette store. They will be open that day from 8 a.m. They will be selling flowers and fresh flower leis, diploma frames, and their usual branded apparel. So you can go ahead and take advantage of that while you're on campus. Another question that we get for the Salem campus commencements is whether people can bring their pets. And the answer is yes. you can bring a pet dog as long as it's leashed and well-mannered. But if it does not meet those qualifications, you will be asked likely to take the dog elsewhere so as not to disturb the ceremony. Of course, service animals are allowed on campus and in our buildings. So I also want to say each ceremony will have a photographer. So you'll be able to get photos of your graduate, getting their diploma, crossing the stage, maybe shaking the dean or the president's hand. So those will be available for students and families after the ceremony. I'm happy to take any questions. Should I look at the Q&A here?
Yeah, just keep an eye on the Q&A, and as questions come in, you can either type answers to them directly, or at the end, we'll also spend some time on some general Q&A.
Okay.
And now we'll segue to Lisa Holliday.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Holliday. I work in the Office of Student Engagement and Leadership on the Salem campus. And student engagement and leadership is also referred to by the acronym of SEAL. And the SEAL office is responsible for overseeing all of our clubs and organizations on campus, lots of the big student events and activities, a lot of the functions that fall under what you would call campus recreation, such as outdoor program and intramurals, club sports. So lots of activities and events going on in the SEAL office. So I just wanted to highlight some things that are happening right now as we wrap up spring semester and head towards commencement, but also what your student can expect in the fall when they return, if they are returning students. We've had an excellent spring semester. I feel like we had very busy spring semester as well. We saw the return of two important events on our campus that are traditional: the Luau and Sakura Matsuri, which is a cherry blossom festival put on by our Japan student leaders. Luau is put on by our Hawaii club, and both of those events had not been on our campus for about 3 years. So we were really excited to have them back. And then Black Tie was in its second year of returning, and we saw several hundred students attend that event down at the Salem Conference Center. So lots of other events as well put on by our 80 plus student organizations that have been very active on campus. We have still very many more events to come in the next 2 weeks before we head into finals, wrapping up with Midnight Breakfast, which is always a very popular event on our Salem campus for our undergraduate students, where there'll be prizes and free breakfast. And the breakfast is served not only by Bon Appetit staff, but also by faculty and staff volunteers. So lots of wonderful events that have come back, that have gotten stronger, and that students have attended in large numbers. An event that will be happening post-finals is Senior Week, which is May 15th through the 18th. And I wanted to share just a few activities that if you have a graduating senior on the Salem campus that they can expect as part of Senior Week. We have some affinity graduations that are planned. And if your students identify as either LGBTQ plus or as a Black or Brown student, a BIPOC student, we would encourage them to sign up for both of those graduation events. They have received information about these affinity graduations as well as the other events that I'm about to describe. So we have some affinity graduations. We have a kindergarten craft night coming up where students can decorate their graduation cap, a trivia night. We're going to be offering a movie at Salem Cinema. So we hope that our graduating seniors on the Salem campus will join us for the Senior Week activities. And then as we shift focus to next fall, we are also simultaneously planning a lot of welcome back activities and events in September. And one of those popular events that we will be offering is our Activities Expo. For those of you who are family members of students newer to Willamette on our Salem campus, maybe your student is still trying to figure out how to get engaged and involved on campus. And I always encourage students to attend the Activities Expo, which is usually the second week of classes, where all the clubs and organizations are present out by the mill stream. And it's a great way to engage and figure out how you might want to spend your time outside of class. So we will be doing a lot of advertising and promotion of not only the Activities Expo, but all the welcome back activities and offerings. We're really excited to be offering a class in the fall called Introduction to Leadership. And it's a class that your students could register for now. The acronym is IDS 175. And we are really excited to offer this leadership class and look forward to students signing up. It's open to all students, not just students who identify as a leader, but any student who wants to learn more about leadership and engage with our community, not only on campus, but also in Salem. And then we have lots of leadership opportunities for students. And I just wanted to share that those are still available. We're still hiring for a lot of different positions, and all of those are available on Handshake. Your student can reach out to us anytime via student engagement group at Willamette, which is our email. And we would be happy to assist them in identifying some leadership opportunities for them for the next academic year.
All right. Thanks so much, Lisa. Let's hand it over to Don Thompson now.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So Don Thompson, use he, him pronouns. I'm the Associate Dean for Health and Wellbeing, and I oversee our Student Health and Counseling Center. And really just wanted to affirm and reinforce really what Lisa was mentioning. This year felt different, right? I mean, it really felt like a much more robust and fully engaged year. And I'm just so grateful for that. I mean, and that leads into my second bullet point there that I'll talk about in a second, but just really grateful for the student experience this year. I'm definitely hearing from students good things about their experience here. As it relates to health and counseling, just a couple of things, certainly we saw strong utilization of both services on both the health and counseling services. And for those that are unaware, we also have physical counseling services available at PNCA as well. And all of those are being used quite a bit. One thing that I do want to call your attention to, particularly as we head into a summer break, is that Willamette onboarded a program called You Will, which is distinct from Willamette University, by the way. But You Will is a private telehealth company in which every Willamette student gets 8 free counseling sessions every academic year. This is a new thing this year that we have onboarded. And what I'm really excited about is this means that they are able to continue to receive support and care at home over the summer. So You Will is a national organization that has providers in all 50 states, and your student can access that care while they are home. All information about You Will can be found on our Counseling Center website. There's a wonderful FAQ. I'll maybe drop that into the chat or have Abby drop that into the chat here when I'm done talking. But again, really good opportunity there for our students to get some additional support. We also literally just this week have a brand new position started at PNCA, which is a health coach whose job it is to help students navigate the pretty complex referral process to care both on and off campus, right? I mean, getting students connected with the on-campus resources if they happen to be struggling, and then certainly getting them connected to any sort of community care, be that healthcare, mental health care, psychiatry, things like that. We're just aware, of course, that can be a daunting process, and the insurance system is a lot. And so having somebody just walk alongside them through that process, we're just really excited to be able to have this new position on our PNCA campus. You'll also note, I do have a bullet point in here just about the COVID landscape is improving. All metrics are moving in the right direction, and particularly severe disease outcomes. So hospitalizations and deaths are really in a different place. And again, I think this really relates to just why this year felt a little bit different. We also know that the federal COVID public health emergency that has been in place since 2020 is officially ending in May. What that means for most of us, where that will most be felt, is tests are not going to be free anymore. basically what that boils down to. So all the free access to testing that was made available, and vaccines as well, that was made available during the public health emergency, will likely not be free after the public health emergency ends. So for those that have been sort of at Willamette here for a couple of years, you probably know that throughout the COVID pandemic, we have aligned our policies and procedures completely with the public health guidance. And as the public health emergency is ending and things are sort of reintegrating into a new sort of normal, we'll just be adjusting our policies around that as well. I expect to be able to provide some updates around that this summer. And then just lastly, I think, we're right in the middle of sort of our recruitment season, and our campus is vibrant with lots of students that are considering Willamette and have deposited and are coming to join us in the fall. And all indications are looking like we're going to have another robust class. And I'm just so grateful for all the community engagement that brings, right? I mean, it's campus is a vibrant place, and it's noticeable. And for those of us that have been there for a while, I think we're just appreciating the community that is coming along with this. I mean, Lisa mentioned the black tie and the luau, like those things. We have missed those with COVID, and having them back is a thrill. So very excited about that. Again, I'll monitor the Q&A here, and if anything comes up, but I will stop there and say thank you for your time. Good to see everybody.
Thanks so much, Don. Let's transfer it over to Malavika. Arun.
Hi, my name is Malavika. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm the Assistant Director of Inclusion and Intercultural Engagement over at PNCA. That's our Portland campus. My slide looks really busy, but I assure you it is not when I actually talk through it. But this is just a couple of updates. So I work within the Office of Student Life, which oversees student activities, student development, and housing. And within student activities, we have some of our like traditional programs in terms of our holiday art sale, our BFA jury, etc. So, and then we also oversee orientations, student orgs. So all of that kind of comes under us, and we do that every year, and we'll continue to do that. Couple of new resources. I know Don already mentioned the PNCA Health Coach. Just wanted to kind of add on to that, and I'm just really excited that we have this person in this role. And excited for what that'll do in terms of easing our students' access to care. We're also currently between a search for the Assistant Director of Accessibility Education Services, as well as Associate Dean of Community Care and Inclusion. So hopefully when we start again in the fall, we will have both of those positions filled and have new humans and be fully staffed. A couple highlights in terms of things to look forward to. Our Focus Week starts next week. Very excited. If for those of you who don't know what Focus Week is our week-long, kind of like our senior thesis week, where students get to either propose their thesis or defend their thesis if they're already done. And it's done in a panel. It's open to everybody. We have no classes for the week, so students can attend each other's sessions. And it's just a week of just a lot of art and a lot of learning. So if any of you are in Portland, I highly recommend coming to check it out. I think this is truly like the peak. This is the one week this is the week that gets me the most excited about working in an art school, I'll say that. And then we have our spring commencement coming up that Colleen already talked about. We also have an end of year party, which would be the Friday before that week, also the last day of finals, and that will be Wonderland themed, and I'm excited for it. We're planning a lot of decorations and a DJ and a lot of food, and it'll be just a great celebration of the whole year. And finally, looking into fall 2023, we have, of course, new student orientation and our week of welcome, where we hope and are excited to welcome all of our incoming PNCA students. That's all. And I'll keep an eye on questions as well.
All right. Thanks so much, Malavika. And let's move on to Anne Lepore.
Okay, thanks. Hello, everybody. I'm glad you're with us this evening. My name is Ann Lepore. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Associate Director for Career Education in the Office of Career Development. So I work with our undergraduate students on all things career, and I'm here to tell you just a little bit about the kinds of things that your students can be looking forward to and maybe spending a little time thinking about this summer. So we have a nice large staff of career advisors. Our whole team is quite large for a school the size of Willamette, and we represent different career communities, which are essentially different clusters of careers and industries. So we have a designated career advisor for each of those different career communities, as well as one designated advisor for working with our underrepresented student population. This year, we were able to receive a grant to give away about $20,000 worth of professional development funding for students. And that was pretty exciting. So some other, well, I'll get to the summer. I'm going to skip over the piece about career advising over the summer. I know that's on some of your minds. Just a few program highlights from this year. We do all stages of career development. So this is just your reminder, if you don't already know this, that we are very much here for students, not just who are graduating and need jobs or need help with graduate programs, but who are at any phase of their career development process. So we meet with first-year students who are unsure what to study, what to major in. We meet with third-year students who are looking for their first internship. Really, you name it. If it's career-related, we're happy to help with that. So we've hosted some great networking events this year. I recently hosted an event for students confused about what to major in, and that was fun. We offer several career courses, which students can register for. We offer courses in career planning, in job search strategies, and we also offer credit for internships. So if a student is doing a summer internship, they can earn academic credit for that by taking a remote course with me over the summer, and I can provide more information on how that process works. We had several events throughout all of our career communities this year. I didn't list them all, but it's been a great year. So moving on to summer, which is probably the thing that people are most interested in. I think first and foremost, just so you know, we do continue to offer career advising over the summer months. So while our schedules might be a little bit more full of travel and potentially some remote time, advisors are still available throughout the summer months to meet with students. We meet with students on Zoom, we meet with them in person, and they still schedule those appointments the way that they always do throughout the school year, which is through Handshake, which most students are pretty familiar with. Summer is a great time for students who are interested in graduate or professional school to get started researching. If they want to check in with one of the advisors, we can get them started on researching programs if that's something they're thinking about doing in the fall. At this point, if a student doesn't have a summer plan and they really want one, I would recommend scheduling an advising appointment with us. So we offer very individualized and very tailored advising for all of our students. So no matter where they are across the country, they don't have to be in the Pacific Northwest. They can be anywhere, and we'll offer some tailored advising to them and their specific situation and the kind of experiences they might want to gain this summer. One thing to just bear in mind, it's getting a little late. And so we may have some advice for them around networking, which all students love hearing about, and as well as piecing together different opportunities that might give them a more solid summer plan. So if they're interested in that, all of our advisors are hosting drop-in hours this spring. I am on Friday. And I know our other advisors have been hosting drop-in hours as well. And then again, individualized scheduled appointments. A couple other notes on summer internships. If a student has received an internship and it is either low paid or unpaid, we really like to support our students and and want them to be able to take advantage of those opportunities without it being a financial hardship. So the Office of Career Development awards internship funding every spring, and those applications are live right now. There are several funds, and we often give away somewhere in the neighborhood of $50,000 to various students for to cover the costs of internship related expenses. So those applications can be found on the Career Development website. And those applications are coming up due on the 28th. And if students are interested in receiving academic credit for internships, they can contact me directly. My email address is listed there on the slide. There's some other resources there that students should be looking at. Handshake, of course, our career community resources. Career Talk is our newsletter. It goes to their email, so they get it no matter what. And Woo Connect is a Willamette specific networking site that is allows students to connect with other Willamette alums in their field of interest. So those are just a few of the ways that students can connect with us. And I will definitely look at the Q&A for any questions and answer anything I can. So thanks.
All right. Thanks so much, Anne. This is the time of the program where we can actually answer questions out loud. Our panelists have been answering a lot of the questions in the Q&A tab fastly and furiously, and that's much appreciated. But now we can also answer things in more general fashion, or if there are questions that maybe came in multiple times or multiple questions about a similar topic, this might be a good time to just kind of give more of an overview. Colleen, I know there were some questions that kind of were around aspects of commencement that you didn't cover. Is there anything you want to add, but just based on some of those other questions?
There were questions about the photography and whether the photos would be available for purchase, and they would be. That they actually have PNCA uses a different photographers, so those photos are actually going to be made available for free to the graduates. There was also a question about wanting more specifics on ordering flowers from the bookstore ahead of time. I don't think we can, but we'll find out and we'll share the answer on the parent Facebook page once we get that information from the bookstore.
All right. How about if I hand it to you, Ruth, to just maybe answer a couple questions that you might have seen, and then if you want to direct some traffic a little bit.
So the questions that remain to be answered all have to do with internships or career development. So I was hoping that maybe Anne could do these. I mean, one that I see is about how does a student determine which community they're in for career advice, graduating studio art major. There is a career community that is devoted to art primarily. And all of that information is up on the career development website. I don't know, Anne, if you want to talk about that more.
I can jump in there. So I'll address the question about the career community. First off, a student does not have to see a designated career advisor from their community. They can make an appointment with whomever they choose. So when they go into Handshake to book a career advising appointment, they will see short bios of all of the advisors. And in each bio, it will tell them this advisor specializes in these things, and they can make a choice. We do have two advisors who are located at the PNCA campus that meet often with art students, and they meet with students over Zoom. I also personally meet with quite a few studio art students as well, so they can certainly contact me directly or look for me on Handshake. But they don't have to meet with a specific advisor, and it's pretty well laid out how to identify. I also noticed a couple of questions about the internship for credit class. So just as an FYI, if students try to register for that class on their own, it will automatically tell them that they've been waitlisted. So what they need to do is contact me, or they need to go to the internship for credit website on through the career development website. It's honestly probably easiest just to contact me directly. They will fill out a Google form that tells me what internship they're doing, and I will ensure that they get registered through the registrar's office. So they don't actually have to do any of the registering in Sage. So if they've gotten a note that says they're waitlisted, that's why, and they should reach out to me. I also got a question, and I'm very happy that I got this question about graduating seniors. Alums still have access to career development. I should have said that. So graduating seniors, we do not abandon them. We are still available for career advising and see quite a few recent alums, usually the summer after graduation. So, and again, we can do that on Zoom. So yes.
Okay. I'm seeing that we're getting a couple of questions that I do not have the answer for. When will we know financial aid awards for next year for returning students? Does anybody here actually know that?
I was told it was going to be May. I don't know when in May, but yeah. Okay.
Sounds good. Question about improvements for campus residence buildings this summer. Lisa, do you know of anything that is going on in the residence halls for the summer? Okay. We've got a couple of big projects that are going on campus this summer and next, with boiler replacement and really big sort of structural things that are affecting the entire north side of campus. I do not know about smaller projects.
Well, we're making a ton of infrastructure investments on campus, and a lot of work's going to take place this summer. We have replaced roofs. Our IT infrastructure updates have happened. As Ruth mentioned, we're doing a huge boiler plant project that's taking place this summer that's going to improve the heating efficiency and effectiveness on 12 buildings on campus. And because we have like $28 million in deferred maintenance that we're going to be using to spend to do infrastructure upgrades on campus. And there's a whole list of projects that I should have prepared, but there's a lot of work that's going to be taking place this summer.
I can tell you that there's some WITS projects. That's the Willamette Integrated Technology Services projects. We're taking more classrooms and meeting rooms and hooking them up with facilities to be able to do interconnected classrooms between our PNCA campus and the Salem campus, and have the ability to have more people Zoom into rooms during classes and meetings. So trying to improve that technology. We've got about 7 different locations across the 2 different campuses. And actually, I should say 3 campuses, because there's also something happening in the Portland Center, which is our 200 Market Street building, which is where the graduate data science and computer science programs are. So, and MBA P in Portland. So I'm guessing we probably don't have a lot of parents of graduate students here, but you never know. We did have a question about posting the forum link. Eric, where will that get posted when we're done?
Oh yeah, thanks for that question. We usually include the most recent recording of our forum with the Woo News that you should be receiving. And so, if you're not receiving Woo News, let me know. I'd be happy to make sure that can happen for you. And then also, if you reach out to me specifically, I can send you a recording directly. But usually it takes a week or so for us to do the editing and posting of the recording. And then again, it should be linked in the next issue of Woo News.
Great, thank you. We did have one person ask about student awards for this spring. Because the student had been told that by a department chair that they would be getting an award, but they hadn't received any notification, and today was Student Scholarship Day. Not that kind of scholarship. So today is the day that students presented their work, their theses, sometimes if they're senior students, or their summer work, if they had a colloquium grant or a Carson grant, or just some really cool work that they'd done for a class or outside of class. Student awards are given separately. There are academic awards that come from departments, sometimes to the top graduating major or the best person in sophomore chemistry, something like that. There are also student life awards. Those Lisa can talk about the student life awards. The academic awards, students will get notified about that by email. And if there is something that they that they're collecting a book prize or a monetary prize. They'll be able to pick that up later in the month of April. April is a very, very busy month in terms of everything that's going on campus. Lisa, you're having interesting connection issues. So maybe you can't talk about, can you talk about Student Life Awards for a minute?
Yes. So hopefully everyone can hear me. I've never seen that happen before. So we just had our Bearcat Excellence Awards last week. And so students were nominated for department as well as university-wide awards in campus life. And we also gave out the senior keys and certificates, which recognize the top 25 students who are graduating seniors who have given a lot of their time and talents to the community and the associated students of Willamette University. So those awards took place last Thursday, and all the students who received those awards, their names will be in the commencement program if they are graduating this year.
Thank you very much. I do not see any other topics in the Q&A that have not been answered yet. I think we have managed to get to all of these.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else. Oh, wait a minute. There is some information about graduate students. Does Willamette have any type of off-campus housing assistance?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, we're looking into doing this at PNCA in Portland. It is not that difficult to get off-campus housing in Salem. We do maintain the Willamette switchboard, which allows landlords, people with rooms to rent, people with houses to rent, and also people who are looking for houses to share that within a sort of Willamette network. And there are dozens and dozens and dozens of apartment complexes nearby. So, I mean, students may take some time looking around to find something that's for the precise number of friends that they have, et cetera, the precise distance they want from campus, but there's a pretty active local housing market. So, and I think that is it for our questions.
All righty. Well, I do have some emails up on the screen in case you had a question that didn't get answered. And you can also email me at elasan@willamette.edu. And I'd be happy to try and help you and point you in the right direction. But we are at time this evening. And so I would like to say thanks very much to Ruth and the rest of our panelists this evening. And I really do hope that you are in our audience found this information valuable. And I certainly can't help but feeling really great and wonderful about the excellent year we've had so far. And we're so excited about commencement. And as you can tell, we're already planning and looking forward to next year as well. So thanks a bunch to all of you for joining us this evening. And I hope you take care.